Student athletes, though, are already back on the field for fall sports.
Yeah, you said you saw some of them running with their uniforms. This morning, we're learning how much things have changed when it comes to keeping kids safe and healthy while they play. Doug is at Victor Schools this morning, a district that has a partner in the safety on the field. Good morning, Doug.
Hey, Doug.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, that partner is Rochester Regional Health, and I am absolutely astounded by the resources that kids have available to them these days before they even step on the field. And we're talking athletic trainers and medical training of the coaches, and it really is incredible, the resources that are here to keep kids safe and keep them in the game and make sure that they prevent injuries as well. Dr. Chris Brown is with Rochester Regional Health. There are a lot of resources here to get the kids ready to play, including the facilities.
Correct, Doug. You know, it actually, there's a lot of measures in play, and particularly trying to keep these kids safe. It actually begins before you even get on the field in regards to the safety measures. And this happens to be when we start talking about a lot of things that the coaches are doing with the athletic trainer. And if you think about it, who's the first one who's going to see one of your athletes or one of your kids get injured? It's generally not the doc, right? We're in our offices. It's actually the athletic trainer, and he's kind of our Marines, if you would, of the sidelines.
And this is the Marine for victory.
Correct.
Rochester Regional Health's Cesar Nava, but you are also under contract. You're here at the Victor Schools all the time.
Yes, sir. I'm here daily from 2 o'clock till events are done. So the kids know exactly where I am. They can come see me prior to going to practice or prior to playing a game and tell me what they need. And with my skills, I can probably get them through any kind of ailments they have.
And hopefully you never have to use this, but there are something like 20 AEDs around the Victor campus?
Yes, sir. At Victor, we are fortunate to have that kind of facilities that we can have one of these available pretty much for every coach, just in case we need it.
The athletic director at Victor is Ron Whitcomb. You've been doing this for a while. Does it astound you how things have changed?
It's changed dramatically. Way back in the day, coaches really did all their taping. They were the sports medicine person. And just to have doctors at our sidelines in football games or trainers with us, it's changed.
And your coaches are trained differently than they used to be.
So our coaches are trained how to operate the AED, how to administer CPR, first aid trained, and all of our coaches have an emergency action plan that they put in place before an emergency occurs. So that level of training has changed dramatically over the years.
Fantastic, Ron. Thank you. Later on this morning, we're going to talk about the elephant in the room of sports these days, from high school through the pros, and that is the concussion. How do you recognize an athlete who might have a concussion, a head injury, and then what do you do immediately? That's one of the topics we'll tackle on Good Day Rochester on Fox Rochester.
Doug Emblich this morning talking about keeping student athletes safe. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Alexis. If they've changed since you were in high school, imagine how much they've changed since I was in high school. This is, I think I used the word a few minutes ago, astounding to me to see the resources that are put into keeping these kids safe. Dr. Chris Brown is with Rochester Regional Health, but they have an agreement with Victor Schools to really consult and be there for these athletes and the coaches. How does it work?
Correct. So just like all school districts, you know, sports medicine has really changed. So school districts contract with providers to provide athletic training services. So Doug, most of the audience probably knows what I do. I'm an orthopedic surgeon, so I fix things that are broken. But a large component of what really happens on the sidelines here to keep these kids safe is actually governed by an athletic trainer. And today we have Cesar here. And I don't think a lot of the audience may know what exactly an athletic trainer's job is.
When you tell somebody what you do here, what do you tell them?
I tell them I touch feet every day. But athletic trainers are actually licensed professionals who have been trained to treat and manage injuries that could happen while playing sports.
And you did some Division I work, and you said that was one of the things you tried to incorporate here at Victor, just kind of a Division I college model.
Yes, sir. Early on, I was thankful to be part of Temple University and Drexel University, where the care was so all-encompassing that we had access to physicians as soon as we need them, and allows the kids to get care as soon as we can possibly get.
The right kind of care as soon as possible.
The right kind of care as soon as possible.
So I've got 10 seconds left. For a kid, how does this change the experience?
It makes them feel more comfortable, safer to play at their their best, to know somebody's at the sidelines that can help them.
And as a parent of some former student athletes, I can tell it makes the parents feel safer too. I know that for sure. All right, we're going to be back in just a little bit. We're going to talk about what happens when a player is injured. We're going to talk about recovering from an injury, and we're going to talk about...
When it comes to keeping student athletes injury-free, a lot of the emphasis is put on the weight room. The Victor School District is teaming up with the local healthcare system to make sure it's doing all it can to prevent injuries. And that's where we find Doug Emblich live this morning, talking more about student athletes and their health. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning. I'm surprised. I've been with all this morning, athletic directors, coaches, orthopedic surgeon, athletic trainer. No one has yet said drop and give me 20. So, which is a very good thing, because I'm not sure I could right now. Dr. Chris Brown from Rochester Regional Health. We've talked a lot about prevention this morning, and a key to getting ready for any season happens here in a weight room, doesn't it?
Correct, Doug. You know, I talk to kids quite a bit, and I try to bring home this concept that, you know, injury prevention goes hand in hand with performance enhancement. If you think about it, you know, becoming bigger, faster, and stronger is going to keep you off the sidelines and keep you in the game. And that's what kids these days need to really think about.
I just met this guy, Nate. Unbelievable. You are a phys ed teacher here. You work with the RIT men's hockey team. You have your own business, Next Level, over at Thomas Creek and Fairport. And you do strength and conditioning training here at Victor.
Right.
Do you sleep at all?
Very, very understanding wife is the key to that, Doug.
Okay.
But,
that's a good thing to say on TV, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sure she's watching.
How important is it? I mean, to get into a weight room, you not only see the results in your physique, but you can perhaps prevent a bad injury that season.
Right, and in quality strength conditioning, the #1 goal has to be injury prevention. Obviously, we want our athletes to be biggest, strongest, fastest athletes out there, but it doesn't matter if they're not on the field. So, you know, quality strength conditioning is injury prevention. We're building athletes. It's not just about how much weight you can lift anymore. It's about making sure, you know, athletes are mobile, make sure that their joints are stable, make sure that they're an athlete first. So,
you kept saying the word quality, so kind of the inference there is there's probably a lot of people who come into weight rooms and don't do it the right way.
Right.
And I think we all see examples of that maybe if we belong at a gym.
For sure.
What kind of things do people do incorrectly that maybe they can
So the
change?
biggest thing is making sure athletes are moving well, and that technique is the #1 priority. And high school age kids, it's tough because they want to show off to their friends. They want to, you know, tell, you know, everyone how much they bench and things, but you know, making sure that they're moving well and technique is key. So first of all, making sure the program is designed properly, and it's, you know, their goals are matching the program. You know, we're not training powerlifters, we're not training bodybuilders, we're training athletes. So for that to happen, we need to make sure, again, you know, mobility is a big part of what we do on a daily basis. And we've got a huge buy-in and support system here with our administration, Mr. Wickham. Our coaches have bought in tremendously. So without that, nothing really matters as far as my end. So
you see some people come into a weight room and, you know, their posture's not right, and then they're, like you said, just trying to lift as much as they can. But weight training isn't just for athletes, is it? I mean, that's something you can do well into your senior years and see the benefits of.
Yeah, and before this, you know, you were talking about strength training being the #1 bang for your buck component out there, and I could not agree more. And, you know, there's so many misconceptions out there about strength training, making, you know, girls get sometimes hesitant. They think they're going to be walking around big and bulky, and that's obviously not the case. And strength training is the #1 key. You know, we talk about mobility and moving well as being the foundation, but from there it's strength, and that's for everybody. For every athlete we train here at Victor, from our cross country to our golf to our linemen, you know, strength is the key. And then from there it's, again, building that athlete. We don't just want them to be strong, we want them to be fast and powerful. And again, it all ties into the injury prevention.
And Doug, the body's kind of like nature. You know, it likes ratios, and when those ratios are out of whack, that's when you see injuries, and that's what strength training is really about. It's about balancing those ratios. You know, it's more than, you know, just about biceps and your pecs, right? Because they look good. There's a lot more to proper strength training and quality.
Learned a lot from you guys this morning. Thank you so much, and it's really impressive what is out there for student athletes now that probably wasn't there back when a lot of us were in school.
Correct. It's changed quite a bit, and it will continue to change.
Very good. A partnership between Rochester Regional Health and the Victor schools. Other schools have similar partnerships going as well, and it's kind of reassuring for parents and for their student athletes to know that that kind of resource is there. Guys, back to you.
And Doug, I'd agree with that too, because
Head back to school. Student athletes are also heading back to the field for fall sports. And this year, more than ever, there is an emphasis on preventing head injuries. Doug Embledge is at Victor High School this morning, one district that has taken on a partner in prevention. Doug's here to tell us all about it.
What a beautiful morning to be out here on the fields at Victor's Athletic Complex. And it really is impressive just from the infrastructure of this place and all the options they have. But also impressive is the partnership between Victor and Rochester Regional Health for sports medicine and athletic training. And we've learned a lot this morning about a lot of different things that are done to keep student athletes safe. Nothing probably more important than the head and neck injury area. So Dr. Chris Brown is with me. Also Jeff Mandel, the football coach here at Victor, and Cesar Nava. Cesar Nava is the athletic trainer who works for Rochester Regional but is here at Victor serving the students and the teams. The head injury thing, it seems we're learning new stuff every week about what to do and how to do it. What's the big takeaway for student athletes nowadays about head injury?
Well, most of the drive in regards to head injuries actually is driven towards recognition and making sure that the parents, the coaches, and the kids are all on the same page in regards to recognizing them and treating them early.
Yeah, and Jeff, as a football coach, before I get into your coaching thing, your football career ended with a neck injury years and years ago. Was it a lot different than it is now?
It was in college, so we did have a trainer, and I received excellent treatment, but to have this in high school, it definitely, if it happened on a high school field, it would have been a lot different. I'm not sure how it would have been handled, but for us, it's great to have Dr. Brown will be on the sidelines, and Seth is with us every day. So,
and as a coach, some of your decision making is really you just turn it over to the trainer. Is that how it works?
Correct. Anytime if we see a big hit or we see a kid wobbling coming off the field or a kid reports a headache, as we tell the kids and the parents, your head and your heart we won't mess with. If there's an issue, it's going to go right to Cesar or Dr. Brown if it's a game time, and if they tell, it's going to be up to them. They tell me he's done. There's no fight. It's done. And if they tell me he can go, the great thing about these guys is they want to get kids back on the field, whereas a family doctor isn't really concerned about that.
Right.
So these guys really work well with families and with us to
kind of frees you up as a coach too, not to worry about certain things.
I still worry. You don't want to be the reason somebody. I just would never, as a coach, put a kid back in the game that's had that.
But it takes away the decision making burden.
Correct. Or at least we can consult on it. And it's a group decision.
Yeah, Cesar, the most important thing, if you see a kid wobbling on a field nowadays, what's the first thing you as a trainer are going to do?
Remove them from the playing field. Take care of them as much as you can. Contact their physician to let them know. Actually, prior to doing that, call their parents, because these are minors we're dealing with here. Let them know that a head injury happened, maybe even a concussion happened, and that needs to be diagnosed because it's the law.
Are you able to track kids? I know in pro sports we talk about this guy is on his third concussion in a hockey team or something like that, because the number of head injuries is important down the road, isn't it?
It is. There's evidence that shows there's a cumulative effect of concussion, and yes, we take careful with tracking how many concussions are diagnosed by these kids, and our medical director actually is the final say as far as they are allowed to go back in or not.
Jeff, parents are out there with kids who might be in second or third grade right now, and dad played football.
Sure.
You probably get the question once in a while, should my kid be playing football? What do you say to people?
I really feel the benefits of playing far outweigh the risk of injury, and I think we as a varsity program haven't had a concussion in 2 years, and there's a few reasons for that. We limit hitting in practice, and I think everybody does that now. Nate at Next Level, we work out with them throughout. He develops our program, so throughout the year, we'll start in December and through the summer, and I just feel what they're doing with us and our kids buy in and do that. Really helps us, and then working with these guys has been great for us.
And remember, Doug, concussions can happen in not just football. They can happen in cheerleading, and they can happen on the playground. Concussion can happen in a variety of different situations.
Important to remember and have some perspective on this, because it's so much in the news nowadays. One of the things happening here at Victor, really watching out for the head injuries. It really is so different than when so many of us.
Embledge, who is talking all about the latest in research when it comes to keeping kids safe on the athletic field this fall.
There is a partnership here at Victor Schools with Rochester Regional Health for sports medicine and athletic training. And you just talk about how this world has changed since many of us were in school. It's pretty incredible, the resources that are available to the coaches, the student athletes, their parents, to make sure they're okay. Now, if a student athlete is injured, say an ACL, for instance, the process of coming back is a very, very important thing to get done right. Dr. Chris Brown with Rochester Regional Health. Let's talk ACLs for a second. Very common injury, especially for soccer players.
It is. An ACL injury is a very common injury in pivoting and cutting sports. You know, in the U.S., there's probably about 100,000 ACLs that are torn each year, and it does happen to be more common with females.
Yeah. Cesar is the trainer here, Cesar Fava, and working for Rochester Regional, but with the athletes here at Victor. Kid goes down with an ACL. How long are they talking about until they can be back on the field?
Once it's been diagnosed as an ACL, then you have to schedule reconstructive surgery. And most protocols following a reconstructive surgery are probably no less than 6 months. And the return to play is really dictated on the physician's comfortable level with their recovery. And they have to pass through some serious rigorous tests to prove they're worth playing again.
Kelly Ahern is the girls soccer coach here at Victor. First of all, beyond the medical side of it, when you have an athlete dealing with an injury, there's the emotional, you know, these are kids who are obviously here because they want to play. What kind of encouragement can you offer them when you maybe lose a player for a season to an ACL injury?
Yeah, well, actually, a few years ago, I had a girl tear her ACL as a sophomore and then came back and tore her other ACL as a junior. And this was a top-notch player for me. So that was a very challenging situation. And, you know, you just try to find different roles for them on the team to make them feel just as important, because there's so many off-field, you know, leadership roles and aspects that they can add to the team besides just being on the field.
And because you're not going to get those high school years back. You lose your sophomore and junior year. You know, it's got to be almost the type of thing that could bring on a real funk for that kid in terms of depression or something like that. I mean, kids respond differently, I assume.
Absolutely. We deal with that quite a bit in this particular situation. You know, this girl ended up being a captain as a senior and really was a very motivational to the other girls. But we have girls that, I had a girl who tore her ACL as a junior and came back as a senior, and it was a tough year for her. And I meet with those kids a lot one-on-one and just say, hey, you know, you're not out of this team, you're not off this team, you're just as important as you were when you were playing on the field. So making sure that they have that encouragement is very, very important for them.
When you start the season, injury prevention as a coach is probably foremost in your mind?
Absolutely. So we, for the past about 5-6 years, have worked with our strength and conditioning coach, Nate, and they have done a six-week strength and conditioning program leading up to the season. This year in particular, kids came to me earlier and said, Coach, we would like to do a program starting in the spring. And so they got, you know, that rolling probably about March, and then we had a lot more students join on about, you know, June or so, and that really, really helps. Prevention is key. Really, prevention is key. Cesar will tell us that, Dr. Brown will tell us that, and Nate will tell us that. So we do whatever we can, especially working with Nate, to do as much preventive activities as we can in practice.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Coach. Good luck this year.
Thank you.
Prevention, what's one thing that the person at home can do to maybe make sure their kid stays safe in terms of ACL injuries?
Stay strong. Strong muscles can prevent that twisting action that might happen. And then a lot of times you can't plan for those movements. If it happens in a professional level, it's certainly going to happen to us normal folks. Yeah. So keep your legs strong.
Professor, thank you so much. And Doctor, thank you so much as well. Appreciate it. Learned a lot today, that's for sure. And you can too. There are resources now at the high school levels that probably weren't there when you were in school. And it's good for you, and it's good for your kids, good for the coaches. Guys, back